Hey everyone, and welcome to the fascinating world of verbs. Today, we're going to dive deep into the heart of English grammar and talk all about main verbs. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get started.
All right, so to build any sentence, you absolutely need a verb. But here's the fun part. Not all verbs do the same job. So today, let's break down those differences and get everything crystal clear.
Just think about it for a second. When you're telling a story, right? Your characters are doing things, feeling things, or just being. And that's where the different types of verbs come into play. So, do they all do the same job? The simple answer is nope, not at all. So what exactly is a main verb? Well, think of it as the heart of your sentence. It's where all the action happens. It's what gives the sentence its pulse. For example, in he plays football, that word plays, that's the heartbeat. Okay, let's look at two of the most important types of main verbs, transitive and intransitive. Ever wonder what the real difference is between them? It all comes down to one little thing, the object. Just take a look at this slide. It makes the difference so easy to see, right? A transitive verb absolutely needs an object to complete its meaning. But an intransitive verb, it's totally independent. It doesn't need an object at all. Here's a classic example of a transitive verb. He eats rice. And this is where it gets interesting. If we just say he eats, you're left with a question, right? He eats what? The answer is rice. That word rice is the object, and it completes the meaning of the verb eats. And that's exactly what makes eats a transitive verb. Now, let's look at an example of an intransitive verb. He runs fast. See, in this sentence, it doesn't make any sense to ask what or whom after the verb runs. The word fast just tells us how he runs, but it isn't an object. That's why runs is a perfect example of an intransitive verb. All right, next up, let's meet a special kind of verb that doesn't show any action at all. Instead, its whole job is to connect two parts of a sentence. We call this a linking verb. A linking verb is basically like a bridge. It connects the subject of a sentence to its complement, and that complement tells us what the subject is or what it's like. Think of words like am, is, are, was, were. They're the bridges. And the simplest example you'll find is this one. She is beautiful. Notice how is isn't actually doing anything here? It's simply connecting the subject, she, with her complement, beautiful. You can almost think of is as an equal sign. She equals beautiful. Pretty cool, huh? And for our final pair today, let's talk about finite and non-finite verbs. The big difference between these two all comes down to whether or not the verb changes its form based on the tense or the subject. Finite verbs are kind of like chameleons. They change their form depending on the subject and the tense. On the other hand, non-finite verbs are more like a rock. They stay exactly the same no matter what. Here's a great example of a finite verb in action. He goes, but they go. Did you see that? As soon as the subject changed from he to they, the verb had to change from goes to go. That's a finite verb doing its thing. Okay, now for the non-finite verb example. Take a look at this sentence. To read is good. No matter how you change the subject or the tense, that to read part is always going to stay the same. You could say, I think to read is good, or he thought to read was good. See? It doesn't change. And that's what makes non-finite verbs so unique. So let's do a super quick recap of everything we've covered. Transitive verbs need an object. Intransitive verbs don't. Linking verbs are like connector bridges. Finite verbs change their form, and non-finite verbs stay the same. Simple enough, right? Okay, so we've just gone through the main types of verbs. Now it's time to put your new knowledge to the test. Take a look at this sentence. Reading books is fun. Now, there are actually two verbs in here, reading and is. Can you tell which one is which type? Give it some thought. This whole world of verbs is pretty amazing, isn't it?